Hello, everyone. I'm Kimberly Guilfoyle, along with Marie Harf, Jesse Waters, Dana Perino, and Tyrus. It's 5 o'clock in New York City, and this is The Five. The breakneck pace of the Trump administration intensifies with a new high-stakes foreign policy move. China is accusing the White House of launching the largest trade war in history for slapping billions of dollars worth of tariffs on Chinese goods. This as our economy continues to boom. U.S. employers adding a solid 213,000 jobs last month. President Trump explains why he's taking action against Beijing.
I respect China and I respect President Xi, but they've been killing us. $507 billion in trade deficits last year. 507. Who the hell can lose 500? Then you want to do something about it, you get attacked. Oh, that's not nice. That's not free trade. The war was lost on trade many years ago.
Well, Trump is also continuing to go after Democrats by repeating his attacks on Maxine Waters and Elizabeth Warren.
A vote for John Tester is a vote for Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, and the new leader of the Democrat Party, Maxine Waters. She is a low IQ individual, Maxine Waters. She's somewhere in the mid-60s, I believe that. Let's say I'm debating Pocahontas, right? I'm going to get one of those little kits. And in the middle of the debate, when she proclaims that she's of Indian heritage, because her mother said she has high cheekbones. That's her only evidence, that her mother said she had high cheekbones.
All right, Jesse.
Yes.
Choose carefully. Commentary on that. You want to go with China, tariffs,
I'll
Beijing?
start with the DNA situation. A couple weeks ago, we had our little DNA tests, and we all got them done. And I believe I was 99.9% European and 0.1% sub-Saharan African.
Right.
So that would be like if I went into college and claimed I was a minority in order to get a leg up in the admissions process. It's kind of, in a way, what Elizabeth Warren's being accused of doing at Harvard as a professor. I don't know if she has any Native American blood. Her grandmother said she might have had Indian blood. I'm not sure. There's only one way to prove it. I mean, looking at her, she looks about as white as Dana Perino.
I was 100% European.
It was 100% European.
I mean, Dana's the real
and
deal.
She's been talking about that for 2 weeks. But listen, I don't want to question her heritage. There's only one way to prove it. But the Pocahontas nickname really has stuck, and she has not been able to shake this. Same with the low IQ Maxine Waters, and we saw this nickname deal in the primaries with, what was it, Sweaty Marco or Lion Ted, and these things cut hard and they go viral. And it's hard for these people to escape that. I mean, imagine if I switched parties to the Democratic Party, what Trump would call me. Running Waters. Dirty Waters. That's why I would never switch. The name would just shatter my confidence.
So that's why you have to stay.
Yeah, that's one reason to stay.
Right. Okay. All right. So, Marina, what do you make of this situation? I don't know if you want to comment on Jesse's soliloquy there, but
not really.
You want to talk about China and the tariffs?
Sure. Yes, I will talk about China and the tariffs. So, what's interesting is these tariffs, not just with China, but also with Canada, Mexico, and the EU, have the real potential to hurt real voters across the country, whether it's soybean farmers in Indiana who are already starting to feel the consequences of this. So my question for the president is, when he starts to hear from these states, from senators in the Republican Party who are up for re-election or other members of Congress, that the tariffs are hurting the voters back at home, will that change his calculation? Because the president's whole theory of the case is if he puts these really tough tariffs on, these other countries will come and negotiate and make better trade deals, but we haven't seen any evidence they're willing to do so. So the president's playing hardball. We have no new trade deals in place. And meanwhile, there's great economic news, as you mentioned, that has the potential to be undercut in people's paychecks and wallets if the tariffs continue for some time. It's a political question at some point, not just an economic one for the president.
Okay, well, the president, Dana, has been pretty steadfast on his talking points about the economy, about the tariffs, that he feels there was unequal bargaining between the United States and China. It's been in place pretty much for, about 40 years where these have had these discrepancies, where it feels like we have had sort of a disadvantage that we've been operating on, and so he's trying to correct that. What do you think about the timing and the impact on the economy?
Well, I keep thinking that every morning we'll wake up and find out, oh, everything's solved, and there was a big agreement overnight and everything's fine. Looks like that's not going to happen. The other thing is, there's a piece in the New York Times today that reiterated the president floating that idea at the G7 that why don't we just take all the tariffs off? And Ed Feulner of the Heritage Foundation said, like, we'd be for that. And I'm like, well, actually go with that. Why don't we try that with our allies? He's going to see most of them next week anyway when he goes to the NATO meeting. I do think it has the potential to hurt people. It takes a long time to build market share, especially if you're a farmer, a soybean farmer, or a cattle rancher. It takes a while, and it can be undone pretty quickly. That's why I hope that it gets done. But one of the reasons that we have a trade deficit is that we are a pretty wealthy country and we like to buy cheap things, and China makes a lot of cheap things that we like to buy. And I think that a little bit of this is turned on its head. The other thing I would say is the president's about to embark on an 11-day foreign trip.
Yes.
He's got a lot of great opportunities, but it's also fraught with a lot of challenges, because my rule is every time a president goes on a foreign trip, something major happens at home. So on Monday night, he'll announce a Supreme Court pick, and then he'll be off and he'll go and he'll let the White House and the Senate try to work on that nomination. And he'll be out of the country. I think that's actually a pretty smart strategy, but then always something else happens at home. Nobody knows what it's going to be.
Okay, so we'll see. We're going to look for that and hear about it first on the Daily Briefing.
Might hear about it at 2 p.m.
2 o'clock for sure. Hello, Tyrus.
Hello, KG.
So nice to have you back again for another day.
Amazing to be here.
Yeah.
Look, we have a saying where I'm from. It's called break bread or play dead. And that's what we're doing with China. We have the high ground. They need us more than we need them. And they've enjoyed a pretty good run of getting the benefit of making a lot of money at our expense. Here's the thing. He knows he's got 4 aces in his hand. China knows he's got 4 aces in his hand. They're going to, and on top of that, the economy is great. And in fact, Wall Street shook it off and just kept going with the new jobs. So there wasn't a big, like, what was it? My dear colleague Richard was like, wait till midnight and those tariffs come in. It's another one of those horror movies that's coming that never actually coming.
Richard's 401k went up big today.
Yeah, like it's midnight, it's in trouble. We have time. Our economy's good. Our jobs are good. China has a lot of exports, so they need us. So this was a good move, and let's just be patient and see what happens.
It's not only a trade policy, but it's a national security strategy with China, because when we brought them into the WTO, they abused the system. They dump all these cheap goods into the United States. They manipulate their currency. They don't allow foreign investment. They restrict that very forcefully, and they're building up their Navy big time. So all we're saying is, listen, you know, we need to contain China, and we got to have our allies in order to contain China and protect U.S. workers, because, you know, ever since China got into the WTO, the American blue-collar men and women who work a lot of long hours in this country have gotten hammered. The wages have gone down and the jobs have left. So Trump came in to protect those people. And one of the ways to do that is to contain the rise of China. They're a big global threat. There's going to be a big clash of the great powers eventually. And I would disagree with Marie. You said that, you know, our allies and the people that we've been, you know, doing these little tariff wars with haven't really done anything. South Korea caved on autos and steel.
We already had a deal with them, though. There's no new deals.
No, they're allowing more imports of U.S. autos into their country, and they dropped the tariffs. No, they're renegotiating current deals right now. France has agreed to pay more for the NATO costs. Germany, Angela Merkel said the other day, didn't get picked up, but she's willing to drop auto tariffs too. And the EU and Japan have now come in and encircled China within the WTO along our side. So I think he is moving the needle on that.
But there are no trade deals that we've seen put into place. He pulled out of TPP. He's threatening to blow up NAFTA. And none of these other countries have stepped up bilaterally and said, we want to do a trade deal with you instead.
I think it's going to take a very long time.
Those average men and women you're talking about, the blue-collar Americans, they're the ones that are most hurt by a lot of these tariffs. People in the Midwest, in places like Indiana and Missouri and Wisconsin.
I'm concerned about, too, there might be some short-term pain. I agree with that.
But is this short-term pain going to get us to a better trade policy in the end of the day?
I think that's the strategy, and we'll see what happens. But that's a strategy that most economists across the political spectrum don't think will work. I think most economists said a lot of great things were going to happen with a lot of the other trade deals, and a lot of jobs left the country.
And he's got $200 billion in new tariffs ready to go as well. Dina, do you have another comment?
Not really. I mean, I think a lot of these numbers get thrown around, and it's like with the WTO, the United States wins 89% of the cases that it takes to the WTO.
Yeah.
Can we get to 100% wins? Maybe. I mean, China's not innocent here by a long shot, and especially when it comes to intellectual property theft.
Yep.
And technology companies, they absolutely should be called on for that. But I think that the place to do this would be with our allies, with NATO. But again, even that still is like, giving NATO a bloody nose on the way to a better trade deal. I don't know. I mean, maybe it'll all work out. I'm hopeful.
Okay, so Dana is optimistic with her sunny side up. What do you think?
I'm positive. Like I said, I'm patient. I play poker. I got like 2 or 3 apps on my phone. I got no problem sitting down. It's a
that is
poker
the
game.
key. It's okay,
Break
like
bread
in
or play
baseball.
dead.
I do the patience at the plate. I wait for the full
wait for your
count. I
pitch.
wait for my pitch. I love when it's like 3-2 and the pitcher sweated me, and I'm like, you should sweat me.
And China's sweating.
Yeah, they're sweating.
They're sweating.
They're sweating. All right. The desperate mission to save a soccer team trapped in a flooded cave in Thailand turns deadly as rescuers issue a dire warning that time is running out. The latest next.
Fox News alert, a race against the clock to save 12 boys and their soccer coach trapped in a flooded cave in Thailand as tragedy strikes. Trace Gallagher standing by with the latest. Trace?
And Marie, for the past 4 days, the rescue teams in and around those caves in Thailand have had very high hopes for getting those 12 boys and their coach out safely. But now that optimism has diminished a bit following the death of a Thai Navy SEAL. The 38-year-old expert diver was coming out of the cave around 1 o'clock in the morning when he ran out of oxygen and passed out. At the time, he was trying to establish an oxygen line into the chamber where the boys are trapped because the oxygen level in there has dropped from 21% to 15%. That's significant. They are now using canisters to try and fill the cavern with more oxygen to kind of raise the level. The diver's death highlights what we have been emphasizing for days, which is that even for experts, getting in and out of the cave is extremely dangerous. And most of these boys don't even know how to swim, let alone utilize dive gear through muddy water and narrow passageways. Earlier on Shepard Smith reporting, I spoke with a former Secret Service agent and rescue diver about the emotional toll of trying to swim out. Watch.
When you're nervous or you're anxious or you don't know what you're doing or it's dark and the waters are murky and they're raging, I mean, there are a number of factors that just go really negatively, in my opinion, for a water rescue.
It's worth noting that some of the passageways are so narrow that even with the help of expert divers, there are portions of the trip out, like a mile, mile and a half, where the boys would have to navigate the channels alone. For now, the rescue teams are waiting, but if the oxygen levels continue to drop inside the cave or the water levels rise because of these monsoon rains that are forecast this weekend, swimming out sooner than later may be the only option. Wow. Marie.
Thanks, Trace. Well, Kimberly, this is a horrific story. It was initially happy when they were found because we didn't know for many days if they were actually alive. One cave diver has called this rescue the underground equivalent of climbing Mount Everest. Wow. It's about a 5-hour trip to reach them. I mean, what do we make of this, and how can people follow this story with anything but extreme sadness right now?
You know, it's really true. It's just heart-wrenching. It's heartbreaking when you think about it, when you think about somebody who's an expert in their field, the Thai Navy SEAL, God bless him, who was such a hero trying to go in to increase the oxygen levels in there so these children would be able to survive, and then he lost and gave his own life. That just goes to show you how dangerous and how serious and fraught the situation is. And you have to think that some of the best and brightest minds, you know, not just in this country but in the world, are trying to put their heads together to work cooperatively, and everybody comes together when you think about this to try to save the lives of, you know, children who are just really just relying on us, and just poor things are so desperate in there to be able to survive. And you see these images, and if you look at some of the graphics that you've seen on the internet, on the web, in terms of like the whole layout, right, the structure of it, you see how complicated it is, in fact, to be able to effectuate a rescue. And I just say to myself, this is really a situation where they need like a miracle.
Yes.
They need our prayers, and they need everybody to really think in a creative, unique way about how they can do this and, keep them alive so that they can get them out.
Well, that's a good point, Jesse, because they're now looking at alternative ways to bring the group out. One option is possibly boring a hole down into the cave, sort of like they did with the Chilean miners, if folks remember that from several years ago. One option was for them to stay in the cave, bring in supplies, and they could stay there until the monsoon season ended, and then they could get out more safely. But now, as Trace mentioned, there's an oxygen problem. So there's 140 cave divers from around the world who are helping, and people are trying to come up with solutions here, which is a good thing. There's a lot of innovation in the world that maybe can help.
Yeah, they have the best and the brightest out there, and like Kimberly said, it's going to take a miracle. Sometimes miracles do happen, and in a way, it's a sad story, but it's also a very uplifting story because you see how much the world values life, and everybody comes together. All these experts are volunteering their own time and money to go in. Other countries are getting involved, other organizations. Burrowing the hole seems dangerous because that could collapse it. And then just feeding them oxygen can only last for so long because the monsoon season, I guess, ends in October. So that's, 3 months from now.
Right.
And there's just limited resources. The analogy of it being an underground Mount Everest, just think about it, but there's no guide. It's like these people are going in solo, it's dark, and then you have to train young, starving, terrified young boys how to swim and scuba dive on a level that not even experts can handle. Right. I'm praying for them, as Kimberly said.
So, Dana, there are people from around the world, from Britain, from China, from the U.S., some there trying to help. These are boys aged 11 to 16, and their 25-year-old coach.
So I agree in terms of the only thing that we can do is pray for them and to send positive thoughts because the rains are coming and Mother Nature has a way of reminding you that we are not all powerful. So I do think that's why prayers are in order. I'm of mixed feeling about following this so closely.
Yeah.
I'm glad that we can and that we can know that they're there, but I worry a little bit about just the social media part of it. For some reason, it gets under my skin.
Tyrus, what do you think about that?
As a parent, it's difficult to imagine, the frustration and the fear that they're going through. And I'm hoping that they're able to communicate with their children because swimming for a mile, as a guy who scuba dives, swimming for a mile underwater in the dark, I wouldn't try it myself, and to ask a small child to do that who is air deprived and afraid is just tragic. The whole scene's bad. So I really hope they're able to be with their parents, at least communicate with them or something.
Well, we will all keep praying for them, keep them and their families in our thoughts here. Meanwhile, the president ripping Democrats again over their continued calls to abolish ICE. That's next on The Five. Stay tuned.
Trump coming to the defense of ICE during a rally last night as some mainstream Democrats continue their calls to abolish it.
The Democrats want open borders, which means lots of crime. We want tough, strong, powerful borders, and we want no crime, and we're going to protect ICE. We protect ICE. They protect us, and we protect them.
Also capturing the president's attention was the July 4th protester who scaled the Statue of Liberty because of his administration's immigration policies.
You saw that clown yesterday on the Statue of Liberty? You see the guys that went up there? I wouldn't have done it. I would have said, let's get some nets and let's wait till she comes down.
All right, Jesse, are Democrats on thin ice?
Ooh.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well done, well done. I will say this about the woman that scaled the statue. She's totally selfish, and she cost the city a lot of money. She diverted resources that should be fighting crime in order to bring her down. She ruined July 4th for a bunch of families. 3,000 families had to be turned away.
Right.
4,000 families that were already at the statue had to be shipped out of there, all because of what? She disagrees with the immigration policy. And she's a kook. She's got a bunch of frivolous lawsuits. She's been arrested a bunch of times. Ridiculous person. But my point is,
so you would have left her up there
it reminds me of the anthem kneelers. When the anthem kneelers, they kneel and they say it's about something, and everybody else thinks it's about disrespect and something else. It's not a very good protest. The tactics are wrong. It goes the other way. Remember, Occupy Wall Street started off as, we want to, solid wages for people, and then they started like fighting cops and blocking traffic. Or Black Lives Matter, against police brutality. That's a good thing. And then they like protest the Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade and ruin all, the camaraderie for the families there. It just goes in the opposite direction, and it plays into President Trump's hands. He won on law and order, safety and security, and respect for law enforcement. And I agree, she is a clown.
You like him drawing the distinction between what he wants to run on, which is safety and security, and basically saying that the Democrats want you to not be safe?
Well, I mean, that's 101. I mean, that's political playbook 101. I mean, Republicans always run on law and order, and the Democrats just want to have a party and let everybody in free and give away everybody else's money. That's why you're Republican. You want to keep your money because you earned it. That's why I'm a Republican. But, protests are uncomfortable. And this is where I disagree with Jesse just a little bit. Any protest is uncomfortable. And there's a reason for it. And being a citizen in the United States, you have the right to protest. Mm-hmm. Her approach, climbing, I probably wouldn't have done it, but it got a lot of attention. And people are talking about it. And even despite her weirdness or the fact that she blamed it on Michelle Obama, who said, take the high ground, so she took the highest ground. I was like, that's not your,
lost in
what are you doing?
That's not what she said.
Michelle doesn't want any of that.
No, but the point is, like, she has a right. And as Americans, we have the right to protest, and I would never infringe upon that. And no one was hurt, but I agree with you. As a Republican and a conservative, she cost us a lot of money and hurt the city, and I would prefer your protest be free of charge for me and my taxes. That's all I'm saying.
Get a permit.
Are instances like this...
Not to melt the ice. But,
okay, very good, very good.
ICE
break the ice.
is a tough job. They're following their directives. Going after it, saying, we're going to take away ICE, I think is unfair to the men and women who work their behinds off. They're following their directives. If you have issues, maybe change policies, maybe change the way things are done, but don't attack the institution. Those are American citizens who are working hard and following directions.
Yeah, Marie, you're an expert in communications. You've worked for a Democratic administration. Do you feel like this is all like really off, like some sort of discordant violin? Like, whoa, what are you guys doing?
I like that word.
Yes, I like it too.
Yes.
Good one.
Yes, I think that the president knows immigration is a winner for him with his base, and I don't want the Democrats to fall into the trap of running to an extreme. Look, ICE is a problem right now because of the policies the president is having them implement, as Tyrus just said. So if you want to change the policies, you have to change the politicians, right?
Right.
And so I don't think ICE, or the men and women of it, should be the target. We also have almost a dozen ICE members signing a letter this week calling for ICE to be reconstituted to take away from some of the things they've been asked to do under President Trump, which was not their original mandate. They were originally set up after 9/11 in part to help do things like fight terrorism. So look, illegal immigration numbers have been steadily declining for a decade. We do not have a crisis at the border, but we need better immigration policies and we need border security. The problem is the president runs way far to the right. He runs way far to one extreme, and Democrats fall into the trap and often run way far to the other extreme, which I think is bad politics and also bad policy. And there's no one in the middle anymore, particularly in Congress, who's willing to help solve it.
It's interesting, Kimberly, because you do look at sort of the independents are saying they agree immigration should be dealt with, but they just want Washington to do something. Do you think that they will ever get anything done?
Yeah, it's very frustrating to me, but I think this extremism, this rhetoric, abolish ICE, I think it's nonsensical. I don't like it. I think that we should stand, I agree with your points, that we should stand with the men and women that are working hard, trying to do something to help this country in terms of public safety and enforce the laws. I didn't realize that it's so grossly unpopular to actually enforce the laws. They have a job to do. What's next? Abolish all the police departments? Abolish all the military? I mean, this just makes absolutely no sense.
No, just the IRS.
Yeah, okay.
And
You're
that's
right.
I think that's a real big problem.
It's like,
to get attention and to get media attention, you have to use like the most extreme language. So they say abolish ICE, and then all of a sudden it takes on a life of its own, and it drags all of the Democrats along with it. Okay, stay right there. The Fastest 7 is next. That's all I have.
It's next.
For you.
Clones, 49 to be exact. Miracle Millie is the world's teeniest chihuahua ever in recorded dog history.
Tiniest?
30. Tiniest. Teeniest?
Either?
3.8 inches tall and weighing the same as a large apple. Thanks, Mom. Scientists creating a record-breaking 49 genetically identical copies based on her genes, hoping to crack the genetic code behind her tiny stature.
Better.
The pint-sized pooch now holds the new world record for most cloned dog, according to the Academy of World Records. Dana, is this proper?
I'm not for it.
No.
I'm not going to, I'm just saying, I don't like it. I think that each creature is created with an individual stamp from God, and I am not for this. I don't think you have to beat every world record. Why do we need 49 of these same dogs?
I know, like every record's made to be broken. Kimberly, I think they should name the Chihuahua Tiny.
Not teeny.
Not teeny. Teeny tiny. Very teeny and tiny.
Tiner.
Is that a thing?
Chihuahua.
I thought I said the right one.
No, yeah, it's cool.
All right.
It's like taken or took me, you know?
Yeah, not
Exactly.
Just like that. Just like that, exactly.
Wow. Okay. Next up, Hooked on Phonics. On the 5, we're going to figure it all out. Yeah, I think this is a little creepy.
Yeah, I do too.
Right?
Even I think it's creepy.
Right. You might want to
that's a tall
clone
threshold.
yourself, Jesse.
I know.
I do.
49 times.
I
Kimberly.
actually do want to clone myself. I would like to raise myself in my own image. Oh my! I'd correct all the flaws that other people tried raising me. I would have
What
perfect
flaws?
me.
Wow.
Spend
Wow.
a weekend with me. Think about it. You can raise yourself. Who would be more proud of you than you?
Never
Quite
disappointed.
interesting.
Jesse has no problem
You
with
imagine that
What
little
if you
Jesse running
hated
around?
your-
It was exactly, you knew
What if
everything.
you hated
God.
yourself?
I don't.
But what if you did?
Then I
You
wouldn't
would not
clone
clone
myself.
yourself.
No, it's like, yeah.
But I love me some Tyrus, and I
Is
would
there
love a
something
little
you want to
Tyrus.
talk about?
No, I have nothing to add to this conversation.
I just can't imagine a little Tyrus.
If you were at first.
Or a teeny.
Teeny tiny Tyrus.
Well, he'd start out in my little vase and watch him grow.
We need 5 fan Photoshop
and you
to work
crack
on
the
that.
vase, and it's
Would it have a little hat on backwards like this?
so proud of
Next up,
Yeah.
soap cutting is now all the rage on social media. One Instagrammer slices up colorful bars on camera. Why? She claims it creates a physically pleasant feeling for her more than 10,000 followers.
My name's Kaylin Brady, and I have a Soapstagram. I basically just cut soap on Instagram. I like softer soaps because they're like a real nice, smooth cut, and they have a good sound when they drop.
Oh, it's the sound when it drops.
I think this is a little weird. I think it's a little fetishy or something.
Producers?
Can I?
Wait,
Wow,
what?
Jesse, were you hurting from material today?
Me? I didn't pick this stuff.
I mean, Jesse.
All right, anybody have any
Can I
thoughts on
make money
soap?
doing
So
this?
cloning.
Does she make money doing this?
No, honestly, we have a 4% unemployment rate. I mean, it's amazing how you can make money in
Yeah,
America.
but I mean, like,
Unbelievable.
In the
I like
Trump
this-
economy, anything's
Yeah,
possible.
Smell
soap
of
cutting is a
soap.
thing.
Is playing outside that bad?
I just think
Going on
this
a
is a
date?
little.
At least they're clean.
This is why I'm not on
They're
social
not
media.
using the soap for that. They just cut it and then cut some more.
Very wasteful. They
All
waste
right.
the soap.
Yeah, exactly. Some people need that soap.
It's a teeny bit weird.
Why don't people
I
use
know I
it
have
to?
time, but I'm going to move on.
You're
And finally
struggling
tonight,
today, Jess. I don't know what's
Tyrus,
going on.
I
Yes.
think you'll really appreciate this video. Here's a Buffalo, New York wrestler launching his opponent a dozen feet in the air, over the top rope, and out of the ring. Play it.
And signaling for it here. Both men go to the corner. And the pounce to the outside! Pounce sends him over the top to the outside!
That was one of the best moves I've seen in a while.
Hashtag oops. I hope they're friends because you owe him dinner.
Yeah, what happens
But
when
the
you
guy
injure
who
the
got
guy?
shot-
Listen.
Oh!
If you go back in the beginning, first of all, homie is in a little better shape because he's blown up. It's a term. He's blown up. But they talked before they went, and the guy was like, "Are you sure?" And then he just hit it. This was a mistake because otherwise you have to do
Oh!
this every night for the next
That doesn't
3
look
nights.
like a mistake to me.
Wait, whose mistake was it?
The guy who got tossed
The
came
guy
back
who
into the ring
hesitated.
and won.
Did
you see
The
that?
skinny guy, the guy with the skunk hair, he hesitates when he hits the rope, like, no, I don't want, no,
Oh,
and then he jumps in the
yeah,
air.
I saw
The
that.
other guy's exhausted. These are two young guys trying to find their way. Mistakes happen.
I
That's
saw
why they're not
that.
on the
He
main
hesitates.
stage
He
yet.
goes, "Ah."
But
Yep.
wrestling is simulated combat. It hurts.
I just
But
don't
your
see-
opponent,
Boy, weird.
he puts his body into your hands. And in my career, I never hurt anybody in the ring, and that's something I'm very proud of. You're going to do painful things. We know certain things are going to hurt, but that's extra. So,
Have you ever been hurt in the ring by somebody else?
you know what? I wrestled
accident?
Heath Slater. He kept jabbing me in a house show. He kept popping me in the eye. And I was like, bruh, I swear to. And then he'd be like, oh, I'm so sorry. Pop me again. I was like, one more time. And he did it again and I ended up chasing him around the ring because I'm going to hit you. He's like, don't hit me. So Yeah, he stiffed me a lot wherever you are, Slater. But
you're scaring Dana. Are you okay?
But,
No,
yeah,
I'm good.
it's a physical. It's a
I thought it was
physical.
all fake.
It did.
The only thing that is fake that we know for sure is
He just
news.
gave you a look.
Okay, simulated combat. Yes, maybe
cannot
predetermined,
believe you
but
just-
it's
I don't
a
know.
hell
I
of a
mean,
way to
is
get
it
there.
not?
Respect
Dana,
the wrestling
I cannot
business.
I don't know.
believe that.
Respect the magic show.
I respect
But
it.
it still hurts.
I respect it.
I
Thought you
think,
were better
I
than
think
that.
it looks like he
Please
did
don't
that
hurt
on
me.
purpose.
But the guy who got thrown out
The
at
guy who
Toss
got thrown out
came back in and
because
won.
he's supposed to.
Yeah.
But if he was smart, he would have sold it, got counted out, and then would have did it next week. But
How I feel every day.
And then they went and used some soap.
That is fascinating.
yeah,
No, I really have never.
It's a
that's-
tough hustle. Don't
that's
get it
the most
twisted.
I've ever learned.
Tough hustle.
you got to
All
be
right.
Shakespeare. You got to be an athlete, and you got to be able to heal quick.
Yep.
So
Dana's
That's what
going
they
over
say
the
to Jesse
turnbuckle
every
in the
day
break.
here.
yes.
All right, Tyrus, be nice to her.
Jesse,
Because I'm not going to do anything about it.
Jesse, let's go.
Don't go anywhere, Fan Mail Friday up next.
Jesse, let's
Land the plane.
Oh yeah, Fan Mail Friday is finally here. Let's get to it.
That's it.
That's it?
Yeah.
Wow, riveting stuff here. All right, Facebook question from Jack P. Kimberly,
Yes.
what vegetable did you hate as a child and still hate now?
I got one.
Okay, so here's the thing. Do they technically count as vegetables? I think so.
What?
I don't like beets.
Yeah.
I like beets.
don't
No,
like
she hates
onions.
beets.
No, I really.
I know that about
Right,
you.
babe?
Like if you and I were to do like a test, like
Okay,
a
the question
blind
was
test,
for,
like what does
maybe I'm
Kimberly
new,
hate,
but the
beets
question
on
was, you
top of
can't,
the
no
list.
assist. This is not Waters. You're not going to interrupt everybody. Answer, is it onions or beets?
Oh, I have to pick one?
Yes, it
I'm gonna
says
leave
one.
with
It didn't
beets.
say two.
Good answer. Good answer. Good
Don't
answer.
help.
Good answer.
Yeah, beets. It's beets.
Democrat.
Democrat.
Well, I'm gonna mix it up. I actually really hate certain fruits. Like
That was not the question.
know, but I'm gonna
You
make that
always,
the
this is the
question.
problem. You guys always
Right.
change the subject.
I know. Like I hate mangoes and pineapple. I know. I hate all of that. It makes me
Please
nauseous
don't
to
say
think
that.
about. Wow.
I love mangoes.
But
They're
vegetables
from
are
my
fine.
Yeah, I'm cool with vegetables.
country.
Okay.
Puerto Rico, we love mangoes.
Waters, don't let me down.
Are peppers a vegetable?
Yeah.
They are right now, yes.
Peppers.
Wow.
We're going with peppers.
Peppers.
We're going with peppers.
Chicken wings and
Survey.
why? Just
Final answer.
Survey
I don't like
says-
the consistency of peppers. They're
Excellent.
slimy.
tremendous.
You're getting the
But
wrong
I
kind
like
of
them, and I
peppers,
think they look gorgeous in a salad.
them.
When you
They
slice
look good, but
red,
don't
yellow,
taste
Mine,
orange.
I have an eggplant.
Oh.
Eggplant?
Can't stand
Only
it.
fried.
Really?
Not any of it. None
Have
of
you
it.
ever had eggplant lasagna? It's
Can't take
delicious.
it.
Baba ganoush.
Yeah, it's really
Nope, I hate
good.
baba
Oh,
ganoush.
you can't come back in now. You
Coming back in. Coming back in.
You know what?
And you?
I hate squash.
Yeah.
I hate it.
It's not the best.
Really?
It's true.
It's just
Yeah.
the name. You know,
Squash.
squash. It's like
Isn't it supposed to be
for
a
like
sport?
people who don't like mashed potatoes and make you eat squash. I'm a mashed potatoes guy,
I love mashed potatoes.
which is phenomenal, but that was not the question. All right, Facebook question number 2 from Danette H.
Yeah.
What is your morning routine to get ready for work? You're going to take up most of the time because
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
very,
How
you're
much
very
time do you
organized.
have?
So yeah, please let me learn some things.
Okay, so morning routine to get ready for what? For work or for the day?
Whatever you want to go.
All right. Well, I would say that 100% I have to eat a piece of salami every day. Maybe now it's become a ritual, so I have to eat salami every day. It's not even a joke. Like I eat
No,
it
I'm
every
just trying to be an adult.
day.
Okay.
And it puts me in the happy space and whatever. And then I use my little Neutrogena face wipe to make sure if there's no mascara hanging here, whatever. Fresh face, and get ready for the day. And then a little itty bitty gym workout.
Itty bitty woman who hates wrestling.
No, I didn't say that. I like it.
Too late.
I like
she said it.
No, I didn't.
Morning routine.
Defend
What-
me. I didn't say anything about that. Okay, morning routine. 5:30 a.m. Wake up, start reading.
Oof.
Read.
Send
Peter
emails.
brings me my Carnation Instant Breakfast and my English breakfast tea with honey. Then I go for my workout, and then I come here for the show.
Huh.
When Peter's
All
done,
right.
can you
Wise,
have
I
him
know it's
stop by,
phenomenal.
Dana?
Well, we don't have to
Can you
get
have
in until 5, actually. So I don't wake up at 5:30 a.m. I'll roll out whenever I feel like it. Bacon, egg, and cheese. Hit the gym really hard. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I believe
Couple
you.
hours
Gun
at
shop.
least. And,
Yeah.
shower, throw on a nice tailored suit, and head in and prep hard.
Wow.
And what about the extreme blow drying that you do of your hair? See? True story.
Fake news.
No, it's not. You know it's true.
Fake news.
Yes,
Okay, fine. I started blow drying my hair, but it's not an extreme situation.
I'd say it is.
It looks better now, doesn't it?
100%.
Thank you.
I don't know how to follow that. I wake up, I have my coffee. My husband makes breakfast. He's actually a very good cook. So
What kind of things does he make?
he makes really good scrambled eggs with all kinds of different stuff in them. So
Oh my gosh,
gourmet
Peter needs to
scrambled
up his
eggs.
game.
Wow.
I've been eating Carnation Instant Breakfast for 10 years.
Wow.
Literally 10 years.
I like it. Yeah, I
he's
bought
a really
that
good
'cause of
cook. And then I go for a run, and then I, like Dana, I read everything I can read, and then come into work.
Huh.
Yeah, I really like eggs also in the morning.
Josh, are
hard-boiled
you listening?
eggs, poached eggs, eggs over easy.
Sunny side
No
up.
one else
sunny
here
side
punches
up.
the snooze alarm
Definitely
once.
hungry.
What's yours?
Scrambled
Well, the first thing I do
eggs.
is punch the snooze alarm. Usually wake up with a mean look on my face. I'm lazy, so I usually go to a restaurant, Coffee Rainy, where I'll have my 3 eggs over medium, bacon, and English
Every
muffin,
day?
double toasted every other.
That's what I'm talking about.
Then I'll go hit the gym and throw down some weights, and then that's when I'll check my phone after I'm working out.
Yeah, we should work out sometime.
Yeah, we really should.
Give me a spot.
Yeah, we'll film it. It'll be great. Make a
Can we all
documentary.
come along?
Can I please come watch that?
Oh my God.
You have to be this tall to run. No, absolutely. You can. You know what? It would be great. We'll just all work out together. We'll just
Okay,
be
that'd be fun.
phenomenal. All
Oh
right.
my gosh, that would be actually
All
very
right.
fun.
It's
I got some new workout pants with a
All
lot
right.
of pockets in them. What?
up next. One more thing is next.
Keep on climbing up.
Insurance.
Oh yeah, Fan Mail Friday is finally here. Let's get to it.
That's it.
That's it?
Yeah.
Wow, riveting stuff here. All right, Facebook question from Jack P. Kimberly,
Yes.
what vegetable did you hate as a child and still hate now?
I got one.
Okay, so here's the thing. Do they technically count as vegetables? I think so.
What?
I don't like beets.
Yeah.
I like beets.
don't
No,
like
she hates
onions.
beets.
No, I really.
I know that about
Right,
you.
babe?
Like if you and I were to do like a test, like
Okay,
a
the question
blind
was
test,
for,
like what does
maybe I'm
Kimberly
new,
hate?
but the
Beets
question
is
was,
on
you
top of
can't,
the
no
list.
assist. This is not Waters. You're not going to interrupt everybody. Answer, is it onions or beets?
Oh, I have to pick one?
Yes, it
I'm gonna
says
leave
one.
with
It didn't
beets.
say two.
Good answer. Good answer. Good
Don't
answer.
help.
Good answer.
Yeah, beets. It's beets.
Democrat.
Democrat.
Well, I'm gonna mix it up. I actually really hate certain fruits. Like
That was not the question.
know, but I'm gonna
You
make that
always,
the
this is the
question.
problem. You guys always
Right.
change the subject.
I know. Like I hate mangoes and pineapple. I know. I hate all of that. It makes me
Please
nauseous
don't
to
say
think
that.
about. Wow.
I love mangoes.
But
They're
vegetables
from
are
my
fine.
Yeah, I'm cool with vegetables.
country.
Okay.
Puerto Rico, we love mangoes.
Waters, don't let me down.
Are peppers a vegetable?
Yes.
They are right now, yes.
Peppers.
Wow.
We're going with peppers.
Peppers.
We're going with peppers.
Chicken wings and
Survey.
why? Just
Final answer.
Survey
I don't like
says-
the consistency of peppers. They're
Excellent.
slimy.
tremendous.
You're getting the
But
wrong
I
kind
like
of
them, and I
peppers,
think they look gorgeous in a salad.
them.
When you
They
slice
look good,
red,
but don't
yellow,
taste
Mine,
orange.
I have an eggplant.
Oh.
Eggplant?
Can't stand
Only
it.
fried.
Really?
Not any of it. None
Have
of
you
it.
ever had eggplant lasagna? It's
Can't take
delicious.
it.
Or baba ganoush.
Yeah, it's
Nope,
really good.
I hate baba ganoush.
Oh, you can't come back in now. You
Coming back in. Coming back in.
You know what?
And you?
I hate squash.
Yeah.
I hate it.
It's not the best.
Really?
It's true.
It's just
Yeah.
the name. You know, it's just squash. It's like
Isn't it supposed to be
for
a
like
sport?
people who don't like mashed potatoes and make you eat squash. I'm a mashed potatoes guy,
I love mashed potatoes.
which is phenomenal, but that was not the question. All right, Facebook question number 2 from Danette H.
Yeah.
What is your morning routine to get ready for work? You're going to take up most of the time because
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
very,
How
you're
much
very
time do you
organized.
have?
So yeah, please let me learn some things.
Okay, so morning routine to get ready for what? For work or for the day?
Whatever you want to go.
All right. Well, I would say that 100% I have to eat a piece of salami every day. Maybe now it's become a ritual, so I have to eat salami every day. It's not even a joke. Like I eat
No,
it
I'm
every
just trying to be an adult.
day.
Okay.
And it puts me in the happy space and whatever. And then I use my little Neutrogena face wipe to make sure if there's no mascara hanging here, whatever. Fresh face, and get ready for the day. And then a little itty bitty gym workout.
Itty bitty woman who hates wrestling.
No, I didn't say that. I like it.
Too late.
I like
she said it.
No, I didn't.
Morning routine.
Defend
What-
me. I didn't say anything about that. Okay, morning routine. 5:30 a.m. Wake up, start reading.
Oof.
Read.
Send
Peter
emails,
brings
emails,
me my
emails.
Carnation Instant Breakfast. and my English breakfast tea with honey. Then I go for my workout, and then I come here for the show.
Huh.
When Peter's
You
done,
like that?
can you
Well,
have
I
him
know
stop
it's
by,
phenomenal.
Dana?
Well, we don't have
Can
to
you have
get
him
in until 5, actually. So I don't wake up at 5:30 a.m. I'll roll out whenever I feel like it. Bacon, egg, and cheese. Hit the gym really hard. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I believe you.
Couple hours
Gun
at
shop.
least. And, shower, throw on a nice tailored suit, and head in and prep hard.
Wow.
And what about the extreme blow drying that you do of your hair? See? True
That is
story.
fake news.
No, it's not. You know it's true.
Fake news.
Yes,
Okay, fine. I started blow drying my hair, but it's not an extreme situation.
I'd say it is.
It looks better now, doesn't it?
100%.
Thank you.
I don't know how to follow that. I wake up, I have my coffee. My husband makes breakfast. He's actually a very good cook. So
What kind of things does he make?
he makes really good scrambled eggs with all kinds of different stuff in them. So
Oh my gosh,
gourmet
Peter needs to
scrambled
up his
eggs.
game.
Wow.
I've been eating Carnation Instant Breakfast for 10 years.
Wow.
Literally 10 years.
I like it. Yeah, I
he's
bought
a really
that
good
'cause of
cook. And then I go for a run, and then I, like Dana, I read everything I can read, and then come into work.
Huh.
you. Yeah, I really like eggs also in the morning.
Josh, are
hard-boiled
you
eggs,
listening?
poached eggs, eggs over easy.
Sunny side
No
up.
one else
Sunny
here
side
punches
up.
the snooze alarm
Definitely
once.
hungry.
What's yours?
Well,
Scrambled
the first thing I do
eggs.
is punch the snooze alarm. Usually wake up with a mean look on my face. I'm lazy, so I usually go to a restaurant, Coffee Rainy, where I'll have my 3 eggs over medium, bacon, and English
Every
muffin,
day?
double toasted every other.
That's what I'm talking about.
Then I'll go hit the gym and throw down some weights, and then that's when I'll check my phone after I'm working out.
Yeah, we should work out sometime.
Yeah, we really should.
Give me a spot.
Yeah. We'll film it. It'll be great. Make a
Can we all come
documentary.
along?
Can I please come watch that?
Oh my God.
You have to be this tall to run. No, absolutely. You can. You know what? It would be great. We'll just all work out together. We'll
Okay,
be
that'd be fun.
phenomenal. All
Oh
right.
my gosh, that would be actually
All
very
right.
fun.
I got some new workout pants with a
All
lot
right.
of pockets in them. What?
Up next. One more thing is next.
And I keep on climbing up.